Hi, ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Barr, aka the Femalepreneur Coach, and I'm super excited to record this episode today with a business contact. But also, I now like to think that we're like firm friends. So this is Manuela Martinez. She is an absolute angel and light worker, but also, you know, don't let the cute face fool you. She is an absolute badass in business. She's a marketing agency owner. She works with seven-figure women that are literally changing the game in business, and an absolute powerhouse. I'm super excited to speak with you today because, as well as all of the professional accomplishments, it's your vibe, your energy, your style, your values, everything that you stand for that I just feel so called to share and in alignment with. So if you could, you know, officially kind of introduce yourself, that would be great. But I'm excited to have you here.
Perfect, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me here. So yeah, as Rebecca said, my name is Manuela. I'm Brazilian and I live in Australia. I've been running this business for the past 5 years in different formats until it arrived at it as it is today. And I have two children, Isis and Saul. I homeschool them, and so it's been it's
I
amazing.
forgot about that. I forgot that you
Yeah.
homeschool on top. Oh my God. Like literally, could you be any more of just an angel? Bless you. God, wow, that's amazing. So I'm always like super interested. I always start with just kind of warm up questions around your journey. So what kind of, you know, brought you to this space? Because essentially you work with online service providers. Is it just coaches or other women in business as well?
Yeah, so mostly coaches or anyone with online courses that they are building, or someone with consulting services, but mainly online course creators and coaches. So what happened was a little bit about my journey. When I was 19, I left my house and I was like, okay, I'm done carrying all these family patterns and everything, and I decided to travel around. So me and Lucas, Lucas is my husband. We went traveling to a lot of places in Europe and Asia, and in the middle of the trip, I found out that I was pregnant.
Oh wow.
So I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, if I go back, my daughter will take the same patterns,
Yeah.
and I don't want that. So we just went to New Zealand and we lived there for 2.5 years. And when I was in New Zealand, I simply emerged into this healing space, and I stayed with the Maori people, and I learned a lot of things. So I started to work as a therapist.
Mm.
But after a while working as a therapist, I realized that even though those women, they had like amazing transformation, and I have clients that until today they come and talk to me, and you know, it's all blessings. But I realized that money plays a big part in women's lives,
Yes.
in everybody's lives, but especially women that, you know, they have like traumas or blockages. And what happened was, even though they had this internal cure, if they didn't have money or build a legacy or had something to support them, they would probably go back to the
Yeah,
same patterns.
absolutely. That's definitely
So
my deeper connection with that work as well. It's if you can empower a woman financially, then she is truly like the CEO of her own life, because
yeah.
you know, you make such different decisions in life when you're operating from a place of financial power. So I absolutely love that. So then how did you transition into marketing?
So then I had Isis, my first daughter, went back to Brazil. I was working, and then what happened was I had to leave all my clients in New Zealand behind.
Mm.
And in New Zealand, I also worked as a housekeeper carrying Isis in a baby bag.
Oh,
And then I remember ironing clothes and
yeah,
and like kind of rocking Isis
bouncing.
with my
Yeah,
feet.
we've all been there.
Yeah,
Trying to get stuff done, and the baby just will not let you put them down.
exactly. And sleeping in a garage room with only a single bed, and that I had to share with my partner and Isis. So it was like that situation,
Yeah.
but it was actually like a lot of healing, and it was
Yeah.
magical. So when I left New Zealand, I was like, well, I had to leave all my clients behind. I mean, it was what, almost like 7 years ago or something. So I decided to go online, and I saw this guy talking about online courses and online businesses. And I was, well, okay, I'll try this thing. And I actually grew really fast in that industry. And some of my clients or friends, they started asking me, what are you doing? And I started to help them. And I actually realized how much I love doing that. Like, I'm passionate about it, especially because to go there, even the action of recording a video is like, it takes a lot from your internal beliefs to do that,
Yeah.
from your internal mindset. So
Yeah.
I could actually still work as kind of like a therapist coach, but doing and launching other people's business and doing what I call like translating what's in their heart into profitable funnels.
Yeah.
And it started to work really well. So it was more in like a referral based business in the beginning. And yeah.
I think that's always the best way as well. That's always a testament to a really great person in business when you can build that business based on referrals. You're doing something right. There's one thing to just be really great at sales and converting traffic, but there's another to actually get people saying, you have to work with this person. So how did you get back to Australia? Because that's obviously where you are now.
Yeah, so before coming to, so in this period, Lucas started to work with his father in a Bitcoin exchange.
Oh,
So we went to
really?
the United, yeah,
Oh,
so
you're
we
so
had a team.
millennial, aren't you? Like you too, like online coaching, Bitcoin. I'm like, I am still figuring this out. And I'm like 5 years down the line. Like this is still like, God, why can't I just go and have a conversation with somebody? Like you're completely the other way.
And so we ran this business with his father while I was running the other business. It was really nice. And we moved to the United States for 6 months because of this company. And then when we went back to Brazil, we were like, we love to travel and explore. I've been to 37 countries and counting. So
That's amazing. I think that's the greatest gift as well that you can give your children is travel and
mm,
experiences.
yes. And then I don't know, we decided to come to Australia because it was a similar weather from Brazil, and the food was similar. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
So do you think you'll stay there now? Have you found or do you think you'll move on at some point?
I don't know, maybe I'm really enjoying it.
I
So
love how open you are to whatever the universe has in store for me. I'm totally available for that. That's the hardest thing, I think, for a lot of women is to, and even now, I fall very much into that masculine side where I'm like, but I need to know, but I need to have a plan. Like, I've got to have a step or a checklist or something that I can focus on. And you're like, we'll see. Like, that's a gift,
yeah,
truly.
I think it was the experience I had in New Zealand. I always go back to this time in my life because there were times that I didn't have any money, like literally, like I had $28 in my account and I had to pay 150 for this garage room.
Yeah,
And we didn't have a job or anything. It was a transition happening. So I applied for this job of housekeeper and I was hired before having to pay my rent. And the other day, I was really like zero money in my account, and I found $5 in the middle of the street. Like, just confirmations that the universe will always look after you, no matter what happens in your life.
yeah,
And
that's
I
amazing.
guess I had
Yeah,
to, experience kind of the worst case scenario, like in my life, not worse, but this scenario of, having nothing to kind of like rely on,
yeah,
and being able to rely on whatever is out there
yeah.
looking after us.
And I think also it's so powerful when you go through those dark times to really build up the fortitude in yourself, to know that the universe will always support you, but also you will always support you. Like you'll always find a way. It builds up a whole level of resilience that, not that I want everybody to go through dark times, but it's like when you come out the other side of that and you really have tested what you are truly capable of, and like you say, reach the depth of like the worst case scenario, and you've come out and you're fine, it really does mean that you're truly unstoppable, because you know
Yes.
whatever happens, you're going to be fine, you're going to figure it out. And that power of perspective is like a real blessing, I think. Like I know that you know, both of us have kind of had similar like traumatic childhoods. Like we weren't destined for success, we weren't
Yeah.
set up or supported in any way, so all we've probably really both had is ourselves to rely on. And
Yeah.
I see that as such a great blessing, because genuinely, I know it gives you such a great power of perspective in life, in the, you know, a lot of women I see in the online space, and probably you as well, they get hung up on really short-term metrics, like, oh, I've got a launch and it hasn't gone well. And it's like, when you've been through some shit and you've actually experienced some dark times, you're like, bitch, please, like, we'll be fine. This is
Yeah.
nothing. It's a moment in time. Keep it moving. Like, there's beauty on the other side of that. I think that truly is a gift, and to have learned it at such a young age, that is really going to set you up for success for the rest of your life. And also, what an incredible example to set to your children.
Yeah, and I think it's really deep what you're saying right now, because that's what I see most people. I can literally see that, oh my God, this person has so much potential, and one launch is not going to make any difference in your business.
Yeah.
So most clients that we have here, we have this one client that I think it's really beautiful. He kind of he had to know door to door, you
Mm.
know, to sell his online course in the beginning. Um,
Wow.
like had nothing, just went out of prison, and yeah, such a powerful story. And today, like in April, we did a launch for him, and we reached 2 million. So
Wow.
I mean, maybe most people in the online world would say, yeah, I reached 2 million. It was easy, but I mean, it was 6 years to
Yeah.
arrive in that point.
Yeah. I
So if we,
I believe in that. There are no, in my opinion, there are no overnight successes. And almost if you do achieve that, it's actually, I don't see that as a good thing, because it will be really hard
Mhm.
to adjust
Yeah,
and to pivot from that place. Like, I don't know about you, but I've probably because equally you've been on like a journey with your businesses, and you've evolved and arrived at this place where you are now, which is obviously working. But the beauty is in that journey and finding your voice and moving into alignment and expanding and taking a few risks. I've had to walk away from really successful businesses because they just suddenly aren't in alignment with me anymore. That is the hardest place to
yeah,
be. You know, if you think it's hard to
yeah,
pivot and change when things aren't going well, it's even harder when it's going well and you've built a brand and everything around it.
definitely.
So for that guy, that's amazing that it's taken that time. I think we need to be ready to be in business for the long haul and take that longer view, definitely. So one thing that I love about you though is your approach to marketing. It isn't just here's a rinse and repeat, like build a funnel, it's create a system. Like you, I mean, you've just got such a beautiful energy anyway. But obviously we've done some consultations and stuff together, and you really are like, just, it's that whole mind, body, soul, spiritual integration, so that the work becomes like a reflection of your soul, as opposed
Mm.
to how can we make money. And that's what I just absolutely love.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
Yeah,
so how do you, yeah, what's that journey with you and your clients, would you say?
I think this is the secret to marketing, actually. So sometimes I see people saying, hey, this is the best strategy, or this is the best method, or whatever, this is the best way to do something. And I truly don't believe in that.
Yeah,
And I think,
so
like, throughout my life and my career, I've proved that. My clients have proved that. So, um, marketing, behind any market, there are people. So truly, we're talking about understanding people. in any circumstance. So if we talk about people, we are talking about exactly what you said: body, mind, and spirit. So we are talking about a human being that is too complex, and it's just, you know, unimaginable. So if we can take, for example, when I'm working with someone, I try to kind of like feel what they are bringing to me
Yeah.
and see, okay, so based on that, this is the right strategy for them.
Yeah.
This is the one we can take. This is the one we can use. Otherwise, it becomes a mechanic job and not. And this is why a lot of people don't have success, because
Yeah.
maybe they are trying to do launches and launches and launches, but actually they don't want to launch. They are more introverted.
Yeah.
They love to be, you know, in small groups. Their energy works better in there, and that doesn't mean they're not gonna have success. It's just a few adjustments here and there. So I believe that marketing is a way of like translating and truly speaking your voice. Because if we see people that grew a lot online, it's because they know, like, they speak something that their audience is like, I really wanted to say that, but I
Yeah.
don't have the courage to do so.
It's like a
So
soul connection, isn't it? You're
exactly.
essentially like calling in your soul sisters almost. Like that's how I see it. Like obviously I'm super spiritual like yourself, and I really believe that selling is serving. And when you speak your absolute truth, when it is coming from your soul, you're not going to annoy people. You're not going to, it won't be for everybody, and a lot will go over their heads. But for the people that you're meant to serve, you are going to connect at such a deep level. You're
Yeah.
literally like, this is why my clients, it's almost like they're best friends, like I'm so excited, so obsessed with their business. I cannot wait. Like I'm like you, just
Yes.
I see myself almost like a conduit just to help them to express
Mhm.
their fullest self. And I love that. It's such a missed opportunity. Like a lot of people are just focusing on like, I've got a signature system and just who can shout the loudest and be the most
Yes.
visible and be the most aggressive, and like market based on fear. Like if you don't do this one thing, you're never going to make any money, you're going to be a loser, like people are not going to work with you. And it hurts me to see those kind of marketing methods.
Totally. I
Yeah.
agree 100%. And for example, to speak, to write copies,
Yeah.
you need to write from your soul. Otherwise, they're not going to converge.
Yeah.
Again, because one thing that I see a lot online and really bothers me is I think a lot of experts online, they think their clients are, you know, a piece of wood, that
Yeah.
they don't have feelings, they never had experiences, you know, they are just like a blank piece of paper ready to take anything you give to them.
Yeah.
And it's not true. So you need to understand who you're talking with, who's your ideal client, how's that person living their lives, to be able to translate that into something that will truly benefit them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the missing piece though, isn't it? Like you say, where it's actually going to truly benefit your clients. That's the missing piece for a lot of people. And it's always going to happen because the online space is, appears to be such a great money maker, but only if you are truly, I think, authentic and
yes,
in alignment. Otherwise there's no longevity in your business. So as you were saying earlier, how you built yours on referrals, that's testament to a really great business. And that, you could, I'm sure we both could because we're very intuitive, but I could already predict like in 5 years time, 10 years time, you're going to be successful, you're still going to be here, you're still going to be profitable. There's a lot of businesses that I'm like, I'm worried about you, because if you don't have a plan B, girl, you're not going to be here in 5 years, you're not even going to be here in 2, because you're burning through your audience and
yeah,
not taking anybody on that journey. You're just, who's got my money, who's got my money, give me some
yeah,
money. And there's no longevity in that. People are not
yeah,
silly, and they will wise up at some point.
exactly. I think the secret of a successful online business is the delivery, is
Mm.
the way you deliver to people, is how much you are there. Because it again is exactly what you said. It's better if you grow, you know, one stone at a time, but you're truly there, you're truly being transformative with your clients, then you grow like really, really fast. And and it's not that good, and people are not enjoying, because again, we are dealing with human beings, and this is what we need to focus on.
Well, that's what I
So
loved when I worked with you, is that you have got the spiritual element and you've got like the quantum element. So it's about being in alignment, it's about the universe, but also you've also got the science to back up what you're saying. So I didn't realize the depth of that you go into when you're positioning and writing copy and working with your clients, like you were talking about, like the reptilian brain and, people's basic needs. And I was like, wow, this is like, obviously I have a psychology background, but there's not many people that speak that language. And I was like, wow, the thought, and I think for a lot of people right now that maybe aren't getting those conversions, what they would really get value from is how, like, that thought process that you go through when you're writing copy or supporting your clients to write copy. Because a lot of the time they're like, but I'm copying what this person's done, or I'm saying like what the benefits are. Is there something wrong with me? And I'm like, my advice is always like, people are not buying because you're not any good. It's just because you haven't done the work to really translate and understand how people buy. So what would you say is that process for anybody that's like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but something is not converting?
I think the first thing is, don't copy anybody else. Like, close the windows.
Yes.
The only person you should be concerned with is your ideal client, is your client.
Yeah.
They will be the person to tell you if you're going the right direction, or if you should, make a little tweaks here and there. So the first thing that I do when I'm gonna write a copy here is, number one, run an avatar research. So ask people, ask them what they want, ask them what is going on in their lives, in their business. Ask them powerful questions and let them give you the answer. And basically, the copy that you're going to write, which I'm going to get in a second how to structure that, but basically we'll be using the words that your clients use. Because a lot of the times, because we are in another stage of our journey, we kind of forgot how is it to be there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of buzzwords, isn't there, that go around online, and you think, well, if I throw in these big words like next level and all of these things, it's going to translate. But to the person that's actually like, not following all the other coaches and not following,
Exactly.
the business mentors that you are, they're going to be like, that just doesn't even speak to me in any way. I don't understand what any of those words are. And I was a classic in this. And it was only when I was speaking, I always think of like my brother, like as much as he is an entrepreneur, he's got so much potential inside him. And those are the women that I like to work with, the women that don't even know how good they are. Like they could easily go to the next level. So when I try and talk to him and I'm talking about like quantum leaps and, all of these things, he's like, what? And I'm like, would my brother understand this on some level, without, and then I always go back to the drawing board and I'm like, no, he wouldn't. So I need to tweak it.
And that's it. Sometimes we want to do our copies like, yay, that's the best thing ever, when actually, when you research, and one of the questions I really love to ask is, what are the problems that repeat every single day in your life?
Yeah.
And what would you change in your routine if you achieved, let's say, if you lost weight, and this is what they want, that's what you're selling. And you're gonna see that most people, what they want and the problems that they experience are actually really small, like not as small in terms of not being relevant, but for example, every day I look like I feel that I don't belong, or I would take drink a cup of coffee at the beach. So it's those small things that we miss in the copywriting, and those things that will make the difference.
Yeah.
Because when we talk to someone, for example, all right, so let's achieve a 7-figure business, and they are in a stage where it's too much, like they are so frustrated, they cannot see themselves in there. But if you say, hey, let's book 3 clients this week, how does that sound?
Yes.
Let's do this one single step, how is that? So they will, yeah, that's actually achievable, and this is what I truly want.
Yeah.
So first thing is, what is it that they, because money, I tell people that money, weight loss, or whatever it is that we normally say are the niches, they are just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Behind that, there are feelings. What
Yeah.
are the feelings that they want to experience?
Yeah, because people
How
buy
they
on
want to
emotion,
be.
don't they? More than logic. Because there's lots of women that I could go to and say, if you give me £10,000 and come and work with me as a client, you're going to make 20k in revenue. The logical part is like, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. But the emotional part that's thinking, oh, but to get that 10,000, that means this sacrifice or perhaps this risk, or what if it doesn't work? They're not buying because I can't get them results. That it's because they're fearful. There's a whole other thing, and if you're not speaking to that whole other thing, you can't just rely on logic alone. But one thing I love as well is what you just said about like you say, if you're at a 7-figure business, nobody's going to say, no, I don't want a 7-figure business. But if you're in a state where you can't even pay your rent, you can't even think that that is even possible for you right now. And as women, our brains are designed to be more risk averse. So if we're looking at that big money goal of 7 figures, but we've already identified, I can't even pay my rent, we're already discounting ourselves from that 7 figures, because for us, there's no bridge of possibility. It's not even possible right now because we're so far from that goal that we're not even going to go after it. And that's what I love. So what you're saying with your copy is that if we can just speak to them right here instead of right up here, and at least bridge the gap of what they even think is possible for them, you're going to sell that 7-figure outcome anyway.
So exactly, and being aware of what is happening in the world out there, because not everything is about what you do in your business. So I'll give you an example. I received this phone call, I think like 9 a.m. in the morning, with this marketing agency that I was consulting for, and they said, Manuela, like the funnels that were converting 90,000 a day, they are just like 4,000. What is going on? And then I was like, okay, so let's analyze what's going on. And so I went to analyze, and I found out that this person, he sells stocks, how to invest in stocks. And I found out that what was happening was the war between Ukraine and Russia. So what was going on? It was nothing around his copy or around his business or positioning. It was because people were thinking that investing stocks at that period of time would be risky. So I went there and I changed the copy to security and less risk, and the importance of investing when everything is down, and bringing these feelings of secureness instead of bringing the feelings of ambition and excitement. So just by changing the tone of the copy, we had the results all again.
Yeah, that's so powerful, isn't it? Because in the coaching space, it's almost like we're taught to ignore what's going on. Like, as in, we need to be positive, we need to be upbeat, everything's amazing. Don't worry about the economy, everything's great. But what you're saying is, it's not about, getting into that disempowered state where it's like, yeah, I hear you, there's no fucking money right now, like we're all in it together. It's more about understanding if that person is hearing that every day, like the petrol prices, the economy, COVID, what is it that they're actually looking for? It's still the same product, but it's coming at it from a place of, rather than thinking like, oh, I want a faster car, a bigger house, they're actually thinking, I just want to make sure that me and my family are safe, and that we're building generational wealth, and we're so it's just changing the tone, isn't it, as to what they need in that moment.
And it's the pyramid of Maslow, like sometimes
hierarchy of needs
here, sometimes when you're down there. So if we adapt the copy, it's the problem is not your product, maybe it's just the little adaptations. Another thing is, for example, in the healthy fitness industry. So I had this client that for 2 years, before coming to us, he didn't have any results with paid ads. So his company was just sitting there making the same revenue for 2 years. And then he came to us, and I conducted this avatar research, and I found out that his audience was, number one, older. So like they were not 18 years old trying to
Yeah.
lose weight.
Yeah.
So this is one thing you want to find out. How old is your audience? Because if your audience is like a little bit older, they've been through a lot of experiences. So if you try to talk to them in a, hey, this is new, this is so exciting,
Yeah.
they've been through a lot of things, so they are not going to buy that. So
Yeah.
you need to talk to them in a more frustrating way, like, you've tried all of those things and it's still not working, this is why, and explain them in a more logical way of what is the reason
Yeah.
why.
And that's really your opportunity to shine, isn't it, as an expert, and really embrace like your craft. You've spent all that time honing it, learning it, and being an expert, but no one understands, no one realizes. That's your
Yes,
opportunity to really get into the detail.
exactly. And so I changed his copies, and I created a copy not so much focusing on weight loss, but around longevity.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so I think it was last week we got this ROI, so return over investment of 6, which is like
Yeah.
amazing for his business. So
Oh my God,
it's
is
like,
he now inviting you to Christmas? Do you like if you did that at 6 times return on something that has been very
yeah,
stale for a long period of time? God, you must be like the best person ever, I imagine.
I think it's around also hearing the person on the other side, like, because sometimes I feel this is a part of my, personality. I love to hear, I love to listen. And so when I'm sitting down with him, I want to know, okay, what do understand about your audience? I don't know anything. Like, you're the one who knows. It's your audience, your clients know. So if I go to a space where I want to I'm gonna help someone to grow their business or co-create with them. If I go there wearing this hat of I know everything,
Yeah.
it's probably not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's being open to understand that the person on the other side knows way more than you do, and it's
And
just
maybe
like
they just, yeah, that's it, they can't articulate it. They need to, I always think that's a testament to a good coach, because I genuinely believe, like, obviously I only work with women, but they already have everything inside them that they need to build a £1 million business and more. But it's getting somebody to, like you say, pull it out of them and translate it in a way that just enables it to be a true expression of them, but perhaps a slightly upgraded, more articulate, like clearer, concise version, you know. So
yeah.
that's just, yeah, I love that as well, like just the way that you make it, just so it just, of course, it makes sense, and yet it's a fundamental basic in your business. If you can't master copy, and you can't speak to your ideal client, as great as the product is and as great as your intentions might be, and you may actually be able to help these people, you're never going to make any money, and you're not going to have a business. And that's like the biggest barrier, isn't it, to actually getting out there and being of service.
And also breaking down, like, what is copy? It's a way of communication.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing scary that we should be scared of. It's just like, how would you actually communicate if you were really speaking your truth?
Hmm.
And this is what should be there in your copywriting.
So if somebody was sitting down now for the week and like literally like I'm about to plan out my social media post. So this, when we talk about copy, it's not just about social media, is it? It's the funnels, it's the email sequences, it's blog posts, like it's everything. Anything that, like you say, is just a form of communication in your business. What should they, what would a really great week of content or whatever look like? Like, what would the structure be, or what should they be adding that maybe they're not right now?
Okay, so number one, I before I go and say how many posts of each thing I normally suggest, we need to understand the parts of the brain that you spoke about. So the head, so we always start with the reptile part, which is pleasure and pain. Like, it's a very primitive part. So when I look at something, I'm very busy. We are all busy. We're all doing a lot of things. So the headline, or if you're doing a carousel, or if you're doing a reel, the first thing you want to do is grab the attention. And how you're going to do that? Pleasure and pain. So what I'm going to say something to you that will make you feel better, or something good is going to happen in your life, or if I don't listen to that information, I'm going to be at risk.
Yeah.
Something is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So always start whichever content you're doing, the headline of the first carousel or whatever it is, with the reptile part. So a lot of ads when we are doing for social media, people start with, hey, my name is Manuela, how are you guys? Like, no, start directly to the point.
Like we need
like,
that hook, don't we?
Yeah, the hook before your name.
Yeah.
And then after that, if the reptile part says, yeah, I need this information, it will send to the limbic system.
Mm-hmm.
So the limbic system will be like, okay, I need to connect to this person. Like, am I feeling something in here? What is, it will want you to connect. So this is the part where you're gonna go into your storytelling.
Yeah.
And then it will send the information to the neocortex. So this is the last part, and it will go into, so click here or do this action, or these are the modules of my course. So if you analyze your copies, maybe like your sales pages or something, have a look if you're starting with the modules of your course. Like, this is what you're going to have inside. If you're starting with that, you're starting with the neocortex, and you didn't allow the reptile and the limbic to connect with you first. So probably it's not going to converge.
So it's like you need to activate them with the hook. So get their attention, first of all. Then you need to get them to kind of feel some kind of way and get that connection with you. And then it is prompting them to take action at the end. Yeah, I always say about like, buy a girl a drink first. Like, you wouldn't just go to like the first line, be like, buy my shit, buy my buy my stuff. You've got to like, ease into it and let them, like say, get them to feel some kind of way first.
Yes, exactly.
Buy a girl a drink first,
Exactly. Okay, so hi, my name is Manuela. Bye now.
Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom. If only it was, because I am so high energy and I'm such a quick action taker and I'm so to the point. If only it was that simple. That would be great.
I can feel your pain. Like that too. So planning content on social media. Number one is understanding the funnel.
Yeah.
What is the funnel? I like to make marketing terms more simpler, because otherwise we get caught in these terms and we don't understand them. So a funnel is basically, imagine that a funnel is how it's a date. So I want to invite someone to, like, I want to invite you to go on a date with me. And this is the funnel. Like, what do I need to do first? So I need to grab the attention, and I need to say, hey, like, I need to start a conversation, right?
Or you need to swipe left or right.
Yeah, or you need to click on the buttons there. Okay, that's okay. So all right. So when you do like reels or mostly reels or carousels, or depending on the way you communicate, you're basically saying to people, hey, do you wanna meet? Like, do you wanna come to my profile? And then the second part of the funnel is the part where you actually need to have a little deeper conversation with the person. Otherwise, how is this relationship going to move forward? And that's when you say, okay, so let's talk about something deeper. Let me explain to you what's going on. So reels are great, but I want to hear your voice in your business, and I want to hear you.
That's the thing. A lot of people are wasting time, aren't they? Trying to be like everybody else, jumping on a trend, doing a lot of pointing and some funny like lip syncing. But is that really getting that person to know you and your story and your values and see you as an expert? Or is it just, oh yeah, she's funny, and that's it? Like,
Exactly.
but it's not serving your business. You might get loads of great views, but it's not a lasting impression other that you really want to, like you say, move forwards. It's like, oh yeah, I went out on a date and he was really funny, but
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really learn anything about him, and
But
I'm not
that
really
was
that.
all.
Yeah, so it is exactly like that. I love that analogy. So what's the next step? How do we get to
The
like?
next step is like, do you want to be my girlfriend or boyfriend, or
Yeah,
do you want to marry me? So that's when you're gonna say, okay, so this is why we should be together. This
yeah,
is why you should move over here and work with me.
yeah,
So this kind of content, they are longer format contents, or they are maybe a webinar that you're gonna do to sell your products. You're gonna spend more time with that person to decide if you want to be with them.
yeah,
Not necessarily, it could be in a DM as well. You're gonna build this conversation,
yeah,
you're gonna build a relationship. So I usually say, first of all, we need the common enemy. The common enemy, I think it's the secret sauce to a very successful online business, or any business actually. So the common enemy is, what do you like when we are talking about building a community?
mhm,
We always need some, like, we are separate from the others
yeah,
somehow. We are not the same. So
yeah,
what makes us different? So for example, if we think about like politicians, they will always say that, well, I agree with this and I don't agree with that. So
yeah.
make this clear in your communication. What do you agree and what you don't agree?
That's the
That,
hardest thing, isn't it? And even I've struggled with this because I don't want to leave anybody out. And we think we're being inclusive. And it's like, oh, I understand there's different personality types. So for me, the common enemy for the women that I work with is mediocrity and
mm,
average. They don't want to be like everybody else. They don't want to conform. They don't want an average life. Like, they're ready for exceptional. But equally, I was like, oh, but I don't want to make people feel bad, because if you're happy with doing a 9 to 5, good for you. But actually, you can't build a tribe. You can't build a loyal customer base that are like, soul clients, without
yeah.
leaving a few people behind. And when you try and speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. So
Mm,
that's so
and
interesting that you said that.
my husband said this to one of his clients the other day, and I heard it, and I think it was really nice. He said, so this person, she's a yoga teacher, and she said, well, I don't want to exclude the men in my yoga sessions, even though I'm talking with women and all of that. And then Lucas said, well, but when you exclude people that shouldn't be there, or maybe they are not ready to be there, you're actually preserving your community,
Yes,
because if there's no men in there, the women's will be more
comfortable.
comfortable to speak
Yeah.
and to share.
And to
So
turn
you're
up in
actually,
lycra. Who wants to do that in front of men? Not me.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and you're only
So,
adding more to the women that are there. Absolutely.
so you're protecting your community, and
Yeah,
this is what, like, leaders do. They protect their communities.
yeah,
So if you have your positioning, you're actually telling people, hey, do you know this thing that you cannot share with your friend? Or do you know this thing that you cannot talk about with your family? Well, you can talk here,
yeah,
you can share in here.
yeah,
And this gives space and freedom, because even though, like, we are a free society and everything, but there's still a lot of judgment in there. So if people feel free to
yeah,
express themselves and to be their best version, that's what they want from you, like from us, the facilitators in that space. So there's a phrase from Blair Warren. I think this is, if we understand this phrase, our content can be way better, which is, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, ally with their fears, and help them throw rocks at their enemies.
yes. And who doesn't love that as well? You're so right. Like, when I think even just because everything is like primitive, isn't it? Like our whole, you know, society, how we behave, our thoughts, it's all down to like tribal mindset, isn't it? And that your best friend, I guarantee, like will be the one that, you know, if you turn up at the, you know, on the phone or at late at night and it's like, right, we now hate this person. They're like, yes, bitch, let's go. Like, let's go key their car. Let's go, let's go do something together. Like, those are the ones that are your ride or die. And we don't need to go out and, you know, key ex-boyfriends' cars or anything, but getting that like real sense of sisterhood with your customers is absolutely going to be, you're so right. You're so bloody right. Like even I have probably missed that opportunity to, and as much as you know, innately I would always be protective of my community. You know, my mastermind, it's by application because it's all about energy, what people are bringing to the collective, the value to the table, and I do that intuitively, like that's a no-brainer. But do I articulate that this is a safe space, only these women can sit with us because I want this to be your safe space? No, probably not enough actually, and that's a real missed trick. So that's definitely something that I'll take away, and I'm sure that so many of the women listening will be like, yeah, wow, that's a really interesting reframe, because
it's really good.
because we're all conditioned otherwise, aren't we, to be nice and to be liked
Exactly.
by everybody and be, you know, be inclusive and everything else, and that kind of almost conflicts with that a little, doesn't it?
Totally. And this is why I said in the beginning of the conversation how much marketing is actually related to traumas and in therapy and coaching. It is there. It's pure mindset and human behavior.
Yeah, it's
Because even
fascinating.
it is amazing, because even to say what you truly believe, it's scary. So I tell my clients, every time you're going to post something, if you feel like some butterflies in your belly, you know you're in the right track,
Yes.
because that's the type of content we want to put in there. And of course it has to be yours and truthful for you. You don't want to just find a common enemy, or that you don't really believe just because you need to have one. Search for it. Think about your life, think about what you did in the past, and what you actually believe and defend, and make that clear. And you don't need to be aggressive or anything. It's just giving this space. So once a week, it's good to put this common enemy in what I call the intuitive post. So everything that a lot of people are talking about, you know, as we spoke in the beginning of this conversation, for example, that could be a counterintuitive post. There's no one strategy for everybody, or you know, so this kind of things, like what are you hearing from other people that are actually bothering you, and you can go there and say it. And I bet there will be a lot of people that feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm like the anti-launch queen before Evergreen was ever a thing. And yeah, that wasn't a popular opinion. Like a lot of people were like, hang on a sec, we need our 5-day workshops and da, da, da. And I'm like, people aren't stupid. They know if they're going in those challenges, they're going to get pitched to. It's like, let's just call the elephant in the room. It doesn't work. People aren't stupid. They're not going to turn up at the last day for the pitch. They don't want to be sold to. You know, they already decided on the first day if they like you. They've already decided if you're an expert, and they've already decided if they're going to work with you. Telling them that you've got the money. Don't tell me you like, go get a credit card, go get a loan. Like they would have already been mulling over those options already. You don't need to insult them.
That's why the number one gold rule when you're doing a launch is, in the beginning of the first day you're gonna say, in the last day I'm going to do this and that, because again, like, this is
It's
being
trust,
honest.
isn't it? Yeah.
Trust, establishing trust and saying that. Or now we are doing a launch for a client, and in his landing page or opt-in page, we say, in preparation for G's 14-day raw vegan challenge. So they know that they are doing this to prepare themselves to go to the paid one. Again, because as you said, they are not stupid. They know that you're going to sell them something. Right?
If I ever do anything, I always get it out the way at the beginning. So it's like, full disclosure, if anybody feels called to, I've got these incredible containers. You are more than welcome to reach out at any point to come and join me in those. If it's not for you, absolutely fine, because the right women will be there. And you know, if it's not for you now, maybe in the future, so not a problem. And I think that truly comes from having that resilience, that there's always more clients and the right
Yeah.
people will want to work with you. I never try and do anything from a place of fear, like, but if I don't, like, you know, manipulate them enough and get them into a really fearful state, they're not going to buy. And it's like, I don't want people to buy under those circumstances anyway. I want it because it's like a, how, yes, I love this girl's energy, I need to work with her.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been there, like, selling to someone that I like internally I knew like I'm not supposed to do that,
yeah,
it's not the right fit. It's not a
yeah.
match.
And they
So
always bite you in the ass, don't they? Those clients that you've really had to convince and overcome objections with are always the ones that will be the biggest fucking pain in the ass anyway. You want the women that they didn't even need a thing. It's just send me a link, I'm in, I'm on it. Like, those are the women you want to work with.
exactly. Yeah, and exactly. It's because a launch, I tell my clients that the event of the launch, it's not important. What is important is what we do in the pre-launch,
Yes,
before a launch.
yeah,
That's when you prepare the audience.
yes,
Like,
yeah,
that's why your content or the way you communicate on social media, or I don't know which, there's a lot of different ways to sell, not necessarily using social media. We actually have clients here that they don't go on social media at all and they sell.
yeah. And oh, let's talk about that, because this is quite interesting. So I exactly the same. I had physical businesses before I moved online. I didn't even have a social media page for like the first couple of years, and then also I took a 6-month break, and my business just grew regardless. And people are always like, "What? Like,
Yeah,
Instagram doesn't rule your life?" And I'm like, "No." So how is your client making money without
there's
all those things?
there's a strategy that I call the super content strategy.
Mm,
And basically, so again, um, I wouldn't say, I will say, but not in an affirmative way, but either you grow organically through social media and everything and do this kind of movements, or you use more paid ads, right? So, so this kind, it's basically a funnel of people sign up for a super content video, but it has to be really, really good. So,
yeah,
like, you
high
invest a lot
value.
of time and effort to do this video, and then you lead those people to either a sales call with your team or with you, and and it's only online. You don't need to produce content. You're doing the work on behind the scenes on evergreen.
Yeah,
What are the things that we need to be aware with the super content um, strategy? So I wouldn't recommend this strategy if someone is starting, because it's going to take a little longer to have the return.
yeah. And also
So
you need to prove that you need like proof of concept, don't you? You need to check that whatever you're doing is converting before you throw money at it.
exactly. So this client, I think he does an average of 90,000 to 120, depends on the month.
Mm,
But he's investing 40,000. So the return over investment is a little bit lower, of
yeah,
course, because he doesn't have the cooking parts, the
yeah,
preparation.
yeah.
But that's the way he wants to run his business. That's the way
Amazing.
that makes him happy. So yeah,
Yeah,
so again, can you see, like, there are there are ways of growing, not
yeah,
necessarily
absolutely.
that one. But again, if you need the money right now, I would go to other strategies while you implement this one.
Yeah,
Because in a while you can just rely on that one.
yeah, and I guess it's also how you prefer to work with your clients. So he's obviously like something that's already created, very removed from that process. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who buys that product, as long as they get value from it, amazing. But like when you're working with clients on a one-to-one or in a mastermind where it's more intimate, like having
Yeah.
that social media, like say that dating process beforehand really
Mhm.
helps to make sure that anybody that's coming into your space and your personal energy is actually aligned and, you know, is going to be an asset for the other women that are involved and also for you. And I think some people, not all money is equal. And
Yeah.
like I say, I've had clients that have paid me a lot of money, but it still wasn't enough fucking money for the hassle that they gave me and the trauma of being exposed to them. It was, but I think at the beginning you're very fearful and you just like, anyone, I just want to work with anyone. I just want to like, any money is good money, and it's really not. But I guess that comes from like, you know, being more discerning, and just goes back to what we were saying around, you know, a woman that is financially empowered really makes better choices around their boundaries and everything else. So obviously something that I'm interested in as well, just as like a quick kind of like prediction, is that obviously you work with clients across so many different platforms, so like TikTok and Instagram, LinkedIn, like all of the things, YouTube. What would you say is like the biggest opportunity? Because my prediction, just so to kind of give you some context, I feel like Instagram and Facebook right now are very unreliable. You like, your reach is almost out of your control. Like, it's very hard to get that continuous organic growth unless you're really in it every day and actively trying to grow it. I feel like YouTube is a really great opportunity because it's video content. So as much as you don't necessarily have to do, you know, I mean, you could do it daily if you wanted to, but it's like a really, and it's got a great longevity of content, but it's like a really well, like you say, high value video is going to serve you than 100 like posts, like quick posts and shareable memes and all of those things on Instagram, because it's people are getting to see you and in your element and in your flow. So I feel like that's an opportunity. TikTok, I know you get a lot of like viral reach and things, so maybe, but I'd love to know, like, what do you think is really underutilized right now? Or is it still Instagram and Facebook?
Again, it depends. Like, look, all social media, the same. It's a rule. It's social media. It's not like a social media platform. They are not there to talk to each other. It's an advertisement company. So what is happening today with Facebook and Instagram is that more people are advertising on Facebook and Instagram. So therefore, they are distributing the organics things
Mm,
less. So they are not focusing on that because
yeah,
they want everybody to move to paid ads,
yeah,
right? So this is what is going on now. I think it really depends on the personality. It's the way you can communicate better with your audience
yeah,
and how you can leverage that. So for example, we have a client here, she loves YouTube, and
yeah.
it's like it's her strongest part. So now, okay, all the strategy has to go around the way she communicates better. um, TikTok is growing really well. It's actually a platform that if you have the opportunity to be there, and if you know can tweak a little bit the communication to be there, is really good. Instagram and Facebook, I think they are going to be there for a while.
Mm,
They will. But YouTube is, yeah, YouTube will come up with a lot of things
yeah.
now. So first thing, you will be able to host your courses inside YouTube. So it will become a platform to host courses and people can pay directly in there.
Oh my God.
Um,
So it's like the creator economy, isn't it? With things like YouTube, where people can like, not YouTube, sorry, where is it TikTok, where people can like almost make donations and stuff if they like your videos?
yeah,
Yeah. So they can
I
actually now access paid courses as well.
yes. So they can, it's actually like a Thinkific or a
Oh,
teacher.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm seeing YouTube will grow in this part. They will also have the YouTube Shorts.
yes.
So YouTube is really good for organic search if you know how to. There is a website you can go and it's called Answer the Public.
Yeah.
So in this website, you're gonna put like the topic of your niche. So let's say wealth, and
Yeah.
then it will show you what people are searching for in wealth. So related
That's
to wealth.
amazing. So then you could literally create content that answers that question specifically.
Exactly.
That's
And
amazing because
use those headlines because then when people search on YouTube or Google, your video will go up.
Sorry, my hair just literally took a very dark turn then. It was like this. Don't know what happened. Um, that's what I love as well, because things like YouTube, I feel like it's a safer space because people are actively looking for solutions. And if you happen to be that person that's popping up with the solution, it's a much easier conversion than on Instagram and Facebook, where it's like interruption marketing, isn't it? You know, nobody's going on Instagram thinking, God, I've really got some mindset blocks I need to work on. Let me sit on Instagram for a while and I'll figure that out. It's like they're going on there to escape their problems and to get away from things, but we're having to then like insert ourselves into their daily life and be like, hey, have you considered childhood trauma? Hey, and it's like, I just wanted to look at dogs. And it's like we're having to like interrupt them, aren't we? And then sort of convince them. Whereas things like YouTube, like people and Google SEO and blogs, and people are looking for solutions, and then you just happen to be Mr. Right that comes along at the right time.
Yes, definitely.
So that's what I love. The little introvert in me loves that kind of method of marketing more, because it's like it just feels better for me.
Yeah. But in all platforms, it doesn't matter where you go, it will always apply the rule of speaking your truth and coming up with a common enemy and, you know, really being you, being your true self. And one thing that I want to say as well, that I joke, I think I said to my sister the other day, because she also has an Instagram account and she's growing her business in there. And I said to her, Marina, you are producing an amazing content, but you're not selling. So what is happening is people will probably you're actually preparing your audience for someone that doesn't have such an amazing content, but sells.
Yes, that's so true, isn't it? I've got so many social media managers, and they're like, all the people that follow me are social media managers. I'm like, I know, because you're not asking for the sale.
Exactly. So what will happen is you're gonna nurture them and you're gonna engage them, but they will go in another profile because Instagram will give them another profile to follow similar to this to yours. And then that person will say, hey, buy from me, and they will buy it.
Yeah, they're primed and ready to go. So what do you think is the key to a really great sales post?
It's actually going there and selling. We, again, being honest, we don't need to hide that we sell and this is our business. Like a cafe doesn't hide that they sell cafes, you know, you go there, buy your cafe and you're happy.
We're not selling drugs on the street corner like, do you want to buy some drugs? It's like, can I help you? I have a solution. Like, would you like to buy my stuff so I can help you?
So have campaigns planned in your business every, 2 weeks or every week if you want. I know people that sell every day, but in a more, subtle way. But it's important to know that some people get caught onto producing a lot of content, being in multiple platforms, but they are not selling. And this is kind of like hidden procrastination or limiting belief. Because so I tell people, open your schedule and see, okay, how, like from everything that I'm doing, how much time am I spending in selling? Because a healthy business is a business that also makes money and profit. So it's
one thing I liked as well, you were talking before when we were consulting, was actually like strategically placed like sales and things that are a really great way. And I hadn't even contemplated that. Mine are very reactive. I don't plan any of this stuff in. It's just like, I'm feeling generous. Like, so I want some new energy. Let's just do, or it's my birthday or something. But there's like Black Friday coming up. And actually you should have them like every, periodically, like maybe once a month or every few weeks or something, to just push that new energy through the business as well, isn't it? One thing I did recently that was quite interesting was an offer party. Don't know if you kind of advocate those, but it was like a week of offers every day, and it did make money. But for me, it was more the purpose of reminding people what it is that I do. Like you say, not trying to hide the fact that I'm trying to help you and sell. It's like, I've got solutions here, but you don't want to be in there every day on a different post. Like, buy my academy, buy my like course, buy my one-to-one, here's a VIP. So it's quite difficult to rotate those offers sometimes, but an offer party was a really great way of doing it. And it just sort of shook the tree, and all the people that had been interested before, it brought a whole new energy of different people than didn't even know they were interested. So that was quite good. So I guess it's sometimes, like you say, doing those strategic sales just to remind people that this is what I'm here for.
And also, again, taking the myth out of sales. Sales is an exchange. It's like children sell, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
All the
Oh,
they
you can have this toy. I'll have this toy. If I cry, you'll give me this thing. My kids are amazing salesmen.
it's a negotiation all the time. So, and I like to use this analogy, which is when you're when your what is it, when your toilet is cluttered. Do you
Yeah.
say clutter?
Yeah.
Cluttered. You're not gonna wait until a lunch to call someone and say, "Hey, my toilet is
Yeah,
cluttered."
it's broken.
You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, people need this reminder that, oh, you do have something that I need right now. I'm actually ready. I was thinking about this yesterday.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me because I know that, yeah, exactly the same. As in, like, I've had clients that I have primed for coaching and then they've ended up going with somebody else. And I'm like, what? I thought we had a thing here. And but rather than like turning that like, oh, I'm just a terrible coach, it's like, no, there was just something missing, either in my call to action, in my delivery, in my sense of urgency. Maybe it was too open-ended, the offer that I made, you can join me at any point, at any time. Like there was no, I didn't activate them to take action.
Yeah.
Someone else has done that instead, and they're like, oh, okay, better do it now because this person's only got like maybe 2 spots available, or so it's always things like that. And I think that's the best thing you can do with a business, is take your ego out of it and just approach everything with a sense of curiosity. Like, if that didn't work, why didn't that work, and what is the tweak that I need to make in my business? Because like you said with your clients, like that one thing could just be the missing piece that completely changes the game for you and your business.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for everything you shared today. Like, literally, I've made notes. I feel really activated. I'm like, yeah, oh my God, yes. And I'm going to check this and I'm going to do this. I think that you've just given us so much incredible value in that session. So if anybody obviously is interested in like just taking everything to the next level and having that real professional feel, and that truest expression of their soul right now, what is the best course of action? Is it to come over and find you on Instagram?
Yeah. I'm not gonna spell my Instagram. You leave in the comments
Yeah.
because it's really hard for people. It's
We'll be here for a while. Yeah. But
and
yeah. But honestly, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so grateful for your time, and I don't take it lightly. Like, you work with some of the absolute titans in the online space, and I'm truly grateful for your time and energy, and even like just the value like that you have brought is I'm truly grateful for. So thank you so much.
thank
And
you,
ladies,
Rebecca.
make sure you head over to Manuela's Instagram and find her for more tips and inspiration, and also your podcast as well. Just
Yes,
super value,
the
so
launching
valuable again.
here to
Yeah.
spell.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, I think one thing that I want to say before we finish is make sure you change the concept of what is work, because we're going to work a lot to
Yeah.
get where we want to be. So just,
Enjoy the process.
enjoy the process. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.